Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Tainted Grail. And in tonight's episode I believe we got some bounties to turn in while the soldiers are still here.
Help a soul out on your journey, will you?
I believe we've also got one to pursue
Everything will be okay.
somewhat aggressively, and beyond that, I'm not sure what else we have to do in this region. Dealt with a few more deserters for you.
Excellent. Here's your gold.
Quite a few, actually.
I'll await your return.
About a dozen by the look of it. Now then. What else? Well, it would be nice to finally track down something to do with the screaming armor. Now, what do we know about it? Yeah. We know it was found in the Arthurian family crypts. And we have this letter with it. To my son, Cynric. As you know, I've devoted my life to the ideals of King Arthur. With his name on my lips, I've fought countless battles, leaving wives without husbands and children without fathers. Now, as my life wanes, I wonder whether the gods will see my cause as righteous or condemn me to eternal damnation. This thought haunts me endlessly. Even the absolution of the All-Mother's priestess brings no comfort. For who can know the will of the gods? I could not risk my soul's fate. I sought out experts in magic and ancient rituals. They anchored my spirit to a tangible object, my faithful breastplate, ensuring demons cannot drag me to the afterlife. If the spell succeeded, my soul is bound to the steel, safe from damnation. I entrust you with protecting this armor, for not even the gods shall decide my fate. Aethelric Gavordan. Now, there is one or two mentions of this armor on the forums,
Spare a coin for the hungry.
and people thinking they've broken a quest. And it feels short and incomplete. Some people have worn the armor and been struck a few times, and the ghost of Aethelric Gavordan appears and wishes to fight them. Once they defeat him, the armor loses its magical power and increases vastly in value, and they have sold it. Then apparently it came up later briefly in conversation with an NPC, they can't remember which one, and they think, oh dear, did I mess up? We also know that if we go into the crypt, we can't find anything in relation to the armor. In the mansion, there is a secret door that we can enter, at which point we break in and are trespassing. And we have no really good reason to do so. There may be some secrets related to the armor there. Apparently someone believes they could speak to the druid about the armor as well at some point. And speaking of druids, since we originally chose the faint druidic tie origin, we could use that as an excuse to lean into the Green Knight set, which only wants 2 more points of dexterity. 1 point of dexterity would finally meet the requirements for Lancelot's set, and that also needs more strength, and strength would help our build more than dexterity, but we can meet the dexterity requirement far easier. Fortunately, it's not a decision I need to make just yet. And speaking of decisions, one had rather foreseeable consequences, which we will have to live with, except we'll be leaving the area and leave the living to other folk. Now, our enemy has requested we enter the magic floating flying tower, where it was the home of the one who helped him shape his plans and was giving him his orders, and he says we don't get along anymore. So what are his motivations for sending us in there? I can imagine two. First, that we get rid of his enemy. Secondly, he's saying, look, I couldn't get through to you. Maybe this guy can, but I can't go there anymore. He can't stand me. You're going to have to go alone. These both feel rather dodgy. But since the tower has been crying out for us to investigate it for so long now, we might as well head in that direction. And we can expect brigands on the road around here, no doubt.
Be prepared for anything. You are nothing but a peasant. I've had worse.
Well, you might not have done after that last axe blow. I should have been considering making more potions, shouldn't I? Well, now I know. And I wonder if the level scaling nature of the game, ever increasing in difficulty, means that I can expect far more roses to be growing in the cold, harsh region of the Forlorn Swords than elsewhere. Yeah, we're just not getting that parry off, whatever it is. All these things are nice, but they are also heavy. And this may involve leaping and springing, to quote Forest of Doom. No, back out here where I can loot you, please. Thank you. And now we may enter. I feel this is going to be the last gated, locked experience that we are
Greetings, my king.
entering into in the region.
His Caradoc has fulfilled his task, and the wheel of destiny has begun to turn. I am Orin, your majesty's devoted servant, and the apprentice of your friend Merlin. Nothing would bring me greater joy than meeting you face to face. Alas, that must wait, for our paths have yet to cross, though I hope it will be soon. In the meantime, please treat my home as your own. Make yourself comfortable. Rest from your hardships, and seek the knowledge you acquire. And you, brave vessel, remember to heed your lord, King Arthur, now and always.
In which case, it sounds like Caradoc was going against Orin's wishes. And that's why the two of them no longer get along. I also suspect, that I cannot place a bonfire in this area. Well, with a powerful foe up ahead, let us explore. See what knowledge can be discovered. So I think we should view that manifestation as a kind of projection rather than an absolute ghost. As a ghostly apparition. Many of the shelves are bare. They look more like wine racks, really. Okay, there are more now. Oh, yep. It would appear there is not to be much leaping and springing in this locale. I wonder if it's the same servant constantly responding. Ah! Fairy Tales of the South, Volume 1. The Witch's Promise. By Keeper Wigbert. One rowan night, a woman came to a forest witch's hut at the edge of the grubwood, swaying, reeking of soot and blood. Her eyes were dark with grief. She spoke of fire, of bandits, of her lover's dying screams, how she ran until her legs gave out. "Why are you here?" asked the witch. "I want to kill them, tear them apart, taste their blood, make them scream." The witch placed a vial in her hand. "This will grant you power, but you won't live to see dawn." The woman nodded. She found the raiders, broke their bones, licked them clean, crushed skulls in her fists. The forest ran red with their terror. As the sun rose, her strength faded. She collapsed in blood and silence. Death came, but she felt no fear, only relief. The witch had kept her promise. Some variant of a Dalriata berserker potion? Must have been Pictish, though. It mentions grubwood. Curious, there's likely something useful to be found in this fable. Well, there's a witch. We haven't found an undead woman who wants to kill everything there. Again, the screaming stone head. I see it. However, I wish to continue exploring. Orin's Journal Part 1 of 3. Today, once again, I was asked to summon the king. They claimed that civil war was reason enough to bring Arthur back, to restore order. All my arguments were in vain. I warned them, the more often we wake him, the worse his state becomes. Naturally, the Knights of the Round Table were quick to remind me of Merlin's binding oath, that when they call upon me, it is my duty to summon the once and future king. So I did as they commanded. And yes, it's true that Arthur's presence struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. No surprise there. Arthur no longer resembles who he once was. He appeared as little more than a twisted heap of flesh, unable to speak, growling and waving his fist. Thankfully, that was enough to crush the rebellion before it could take root. Afterwards I spoke with Lancelot. He agreed that Arthur's summoning must be halted, at least until I find a way to bring him back in his true form. This could be where Orin and Caradoc strongly disagree with one another. Unless Orin has later revised this opinion. Personally, I believe Merlin's method deserves a second look. It was he who instructed me to call upon the king according to aspects suited to the crisis at hand. It's hard to accept the idea that my master may have been wrong, but I know the nature of war and how quickly decisions are made when blood is on the ground. Perhaps he missed something. Perhaps he didn't have time to weigh every risk. Tearing a soul apart is powerful magic. It should never be done in haste, and yet he swore he had no choice. The only difference is, I have time, and I intend to use it. Oh, we're overburdened now? So be it then. I mean, if you're just gonna come at me anyway, then the purpose of the summoned creature is not to protect you, but to aid in your onslaught that you fully intend to join. Yeah. So that chamber is fully blocked off. Hello. I feel that this is very Baldur's Gate free. That this is more of a visual effect and not something where we need to try and target individual books. In fact, we can walk straight through them. Adds to that effect. Oh, great. It would appear some mighty explosive burning force has been at work in this chamber. It's a miracle the alchemical equipment survives at all. Wait. Ah. A picture of a potion. Mushrooms, burny stuff. Caller's Grace. Which will... These seem to be arranged alphabetically. Increases physical damage of your summons by 33% for 30 seconds. Well, we have everything to make it, but we don't need to... You know what, while we're here, we could absolutely practice. I really hope they fix that button bug, because it's getting annoying. Obviously part 1 of 3 implies there should be 2 more, and this appears to be descending. Theoretically, the apex of the tower, the ascent, is a known quantity, but also the most important part. Okay, I'm seeing the spirit down here again. They drift from the shelves at our approach. Meaning we cannot grasp them, oddly enough. And there's me thinking we should go to the roof last. Maybe there's only 1 book on each level. Yeah, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, 1 in the middle. Okay. Oh, what is that of distortion? That is bad news for us. And again, we should be on the lookout for a book that is markedly different in colour. Fairy Tales of the South, Volume 2, Druid's Bride, by Keeper Wigbert. In the golden age of the Horns of the South, when ships filled the shores, there lived a talented seamstress. She fell in love with a druid of the Southern Circle, but he was proud and spurned her, saying, "Weave me a shirt from gossamer, only then will I take you as my bride," at Scarborough Fair. Undeterred, she walked into the wyrdness that night, found a thread light and strong, and sewed the shirt. When she gave it to him, he demanded, "Now make me gloves of pure wyrdness. Only then will I take you as my bride," at Scarborough Fair. Starting to see where this one's going, just saying. Again, if you know, if you don't know, the original version of Scarborough Fair, before Simon and Garfunkel created their version, in the world-famous Simon and Garfunkel version, the young man makes all these claims saying, "I will do these things." In the original version of the song, a folk song from something like Orkney or the Hebrides, the young woman is the one making all these demands of him, saying, "I will not marry you until you do all these things." So in many ways, the Simon and Garfunkel one is an answer to the original song, but it comes across as bragging and arrogant. Fearlessly she went into the night, found starlit crystals, and using the thread wove them into gloves. "Fine," said the druid. "Meet me at dawn in the great cromlech, and we shall be married." But when she came to wed him, the druids caged her, forcing her to weave the wyrdness until her death and beyond. For druids care not for love or devotion, only for power. Orin's note: if the gossamer thread is eternal cobweb, and the starlit crystals are the wyrdstone, it would make a powerful armour. Needs an additional binding agent, though. Gossamer... right, so ethereal cobweb and weirdstone and something else to make armor. Spell warden set. Well, okay then. Another gambit scale. The fact that that is part 2 of 3 gives me hope that the second part of the journal may be down here as well. The Black Manifesto. By Slordig, the necromancer that everyone feared in Act 1. My dear brothers, who saw fit to cast me out of the circle for going against nature, know this. I have not spoken my last word. I will not deny your accusations, for is going against nature not the logical next step after mastering it? Nature is not merely to be respected or obeyed, but to be subjugated. Neither life nor death should be set in stone. You draw power from this land, yet you fail to see its full potential. The end, any end, is but an illusion. The great Merlin understood this, but you choose to turn your backs on his teachings, calling them irresponsible. Mark my words, brothers. One day you will pay dearly for your cowardice. This world is ours. Its secrets belong to us. Its laws should be shaped by us. There should be no aspect of Avalon beyond our control. I will not stop my research. I intend to leave a long and lasting mark upon this world, and there is nothing you can do to stop me. A bit insane, but he does have a few interesting ideas. No new recipes have been granted us, however. Here we are, Book 2. Part 3. Perhaps we should go up after all, or Part 2 is out here in the previous chamber. I do like the fact that we are not compelled to interact with the spirit in any way just yet. Again, so many fresh produce. Ah, this looks like it. Orange Journal Part 2. There's been a shift among the Knights of the Round Table. Today, yet another Lancelot came to me demanding I summon the king. Once again, my arguments fell on deaf ears. I told him it's too soon. I still don't have a way to restore Arthur in full. He didn't believe me when I told him the state the king appeared in last time. I was bound by oath, and so I obeyed. Arthur returned, broken beyond use. He couldn't support the knights this time, could barely remain upright. Palamedes died on the spot the moment he saw him. His heart gave out from the shock. Even Lancelot finally agreed with his predecessor. The moment we left the resurrection chamber and the rest of the knights went off to plan their next campaign, a stranger ran up to me. It took me a moment to recognize him, Caradoc. My old friend, the one who once agreed to be the subject of the immortality experiment back before Merlin declared that immortality was no longer enough. I was glad to see him, and even more glad for the idea he brought. Caradoc reminded me of the wording in the oath. I must answer the call of the Knights of the Round Table. But what if they can't reach me? What if they can't summon me or find me at all? Right now they use a summoning spell to call me into service, but if I can create a space where the spell cannot take hold, they'll be unable to reach me, and so I will not be able to answer. That would give me what I've never had. Time. Time to work in peace on a way to restore King Arthur in all the glory and majesty he once commanded, and still deserves. So it would seem Caradoc was influential in this. Possibly with the best of intentions. He's not an evil man, he's just wrong. And finally, the last part. I won't lie. My workshop hidden deep in the wyrdness serves its purpose brilliantly. Caradoc tells me the knights have tried summoning me more than once, but their calls go unheard. Good. I've had time to reflect on Merlin's methods, and I've come to believe my master made one critical mistake. As difficult as soul-splitting may be, it's still possible, but the summoning that should have drawn on all fragments of Arthur's soul, not just the aspects we happened to need at the time. When the knights needed Arthur the warrior, we called upon Excalibur. When the Dalriata stirred, we reached for the crown. Why, Merlin? Why did you ever think that was a good idea? What made Arthur who he was the fact that he was whole. We cannot treat his soul like a tavern platter, picking only the cut that suits our appetite. Poor Arthur. If only I'd thought of this sooner, perhaps I could have spared him so much suffering. I know my master feared that by merging Arthur's soul with the essence of the Four-Dwellers, or rather, by awakening what was buried deep within him, we've created something too powerful to return in its original form after death. And yes, I agree, the risk was immense and his body too ruined to host such a return. But after consulting with Caradoc, I believe I've found a solution again. He's pushing, manipulating. What if we could free the Arthur, the Four-Dweller, locked away beneath the island asylum? If I can convince the Red Priest to begin experiments that strengthen body and mind through the wyrdness, perhaps they could create a vessel strong enough to carry all the fragments, one capable of pulling them home. Do the Red Priests know this is what they were trying to do? Or are they puppets of Orin? I'll ask Caradoc to scatter my writings across the asylum. Let him speak with the Pope. Let him explain that the wyrdness as pure potential might just cure the Red Death, and that their research should follow this path. Soon, my king, we will meet again, and I will restore you in glory and light, even if I die trying. It seems, then, we may be forced to choose between Caradoc and Orin at the end of this tale. But if he's immortal and in opposition, how can that be resolved unless he's locked away somewhere? Sealed in some kind of prison? Hello? I can't interact with him at all now. Hope I didn't break anything by trying. So from this, I'm presumably supposed to take on the assumption that Caradoc was right, rather than that he was influential as a puppet master, pushing endlessly, needlessly. We do not get to interact with this. There's that twisted, corrupted heart again. And while displayed outside the body, it's definitely giving the message that the heart is tainted, corrupted in some way. Well, when the explosion occurred down there, it clearly I would say rip through the floor here, but the boards are not bent up. They're going downwards as if the destructive force was up here. And indeed we do seem to see signs of blood or burning on the walls up here. Ether bloom, mandrake root, an acerbic letter to Orin from M. Probably Lady Morgaine. Orin, I do wonder sometimes what possesses you to let these questions again. Fuck it, I'll just start that again. Orin, I do wonder sometimes what possesses you to ask me these questions again and again, even though by now you must know exactly what my answers will be. Is it madness, simple pig-headedness, or perhaps old age is finally catching up with you despite your best efforts? You know I find no amusement in watching the hollow shell of my brother hobble mindlessly around the island, all thanks to the sheer incompetence of the so-called ruling council, and yet, as I've told you before, I do not believe your idea of bringing him back fully has any merit whatsoever. Why won't you people finally let him rest and try thinking for yourselves? I know it's a daunting task, but surely you have the time, since you keep wasting it, pestering me for help. As for my answer, I've attached a few notes about my latest design. I recommend you follow my instructions, and when it's done, shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Respectfully, M. Maybe C will find it handy. Not for internal use. So, presumably, something we hurl at enemies? Oh god, stomachache? The recipe was not attached. Let us continue our search. Actually, this is probably a result of the recipe she gave him. And here he is again. And nothing. I wonder if that is Lady Morgaine. Or Morgaine. Okay. Orin's notes on Kingy. Kingy! That's terrible. 26th of Hawthorn, Moon 491. I've found more of Merlin's notes. It's incredible how many spells my master managed to develop in this inhospitable land. If I ever return to the surface, I'll have to try them out. Not that I'm in any hurry, as Caradoc ensures I have everything I need to stay focused on my research. Besides, Kingy requires my constant care. I swear if he hadn't inherited Caradoc's immortality, I'd have put him out of his misery long ago. But as it is, we're stuck with each other. He won't die, he won't starve, and iron doesn't work, eh? Maybe when Arthur returns, he'll help me deal with this cursed beast. Sounds like some kind of fey creature. It's possible Caradoc may be waiting for us outside to ask us if we've come round to his way of thinking. It also feels like... Well, did the quest just complete when we came in? Maybe not. Could have sworn we had a quest to come in here. And was that it? Just come in and say hello? That feels... somewhat unsatisfying. And obviously we have a level waiting for us when we get outside. We should probably do that then. And then we can check our quest journal of a map to... hello? To see if that quest marker is now cleared. We have sought knowledge, and then there was just nothing. The implication seems to be that when we had found it, there would be some development. Oh! Wait, no. Let's step away. Map. Seems to now be cleared. And we do not appear to be pursued at night just yet. That's probably a good thing. We do have this deal down here with the brigands, but I have a feeling we're just heading to the Forlorn Swords next, possibly after dealing with the Tomb of Sir Dagonet. Aha! Well, okay then. We do have more purpose in this land. That one was tucked far away, was it not? And it's on the way past the brigand hiding out. The notorious scallywag. So that allows two missions to align in one. Also, we get to do this. Let us speak of Orin. You may have memories of him from after your death, if not before. Do you think Orin was truly Merlin's apprentice?
He might have been, but I don't recall us ever meeting in person. Merlin had many apprentices, and Nimue was the most gifted among them. But even she never spoke in my presence. It is possible Merlin forbade his students from speaking to me, though why he would do such a thing, I cannot say. But Orin seems devoted to a cause he believes in. It's a refreshing perspective, and unlike any we've seen so far.
What do you think of the knowledge Orin has gathered?
Honestly, I had hoped his discoveries might help me recover some of my lost memories. Sadly, they did not. I remember what Merlin and I chose to do. I simply thought I could reconstruct the reasoning behind our decision. But it seems even Orin wasn't certain of that. I regret that Merlin didn't share his thoughts and decisions with his apprentices. They might have helped us now, on this journey.
Do you agree with Orin that we should return you in your full form?
I'm not ready to answer that question.
Oh.
And I sense the final decision won't be mine to make. You're more important than you think. And our fates are bound together to the very end. In the end, Orin's opinion may not even matter.
I'm gonna go here. Gonna follow my gut on this one. It means even longer till we meet requirements and everything, and we're going to take perpetual swings this level. And it's okay, we're a good way of the way into the next level anyway. Maybe another episode or two. And perhaps this will give us time to redirect our build if we find a really good suit of armor that, you know, we should look at this this magical set we've just gained recipes for, though. Especially if we don't have all the required ingredients for it. Also, it seems the Croakmores may respawn in this region, which is good if we require Croakmore ingredients for not just the Croakmore armor set, but for this armor set as well. Let's get inside the town walls and... oh, yeah, we can't deal with the blacksmith anymore. He's far too angry and dangerous and violent. Which reminds me of the Inquisitor out in the wilderness. At some point I might need to go and check up on him. He was out in the weirdness for a very long time before it corrupted him. Whereas these peasants and deserters, it seems to take just a single night. Maybe a little more. It's just a shame that our protection seems to do absolutely nothing, as everyone else seems to be protected as well, even those who don't have weird candles. Let's head up to market before it gets too late. It's a shame because it feels like going to the blacksmiths would be quicker then going up to market. Oh, we have time. We have plenty of time. Let's do that then. Let us see what wonders we can create. It was like Spell Warden's set, wasn't it? Which I imagine is not someone who wards against spells, but someone who wards with spells. So I imagine it's going to be another spellcaster's set. Lots of spirituality, maybe dexterity, and perception would be an interesting combination, but it's probably more likely to be spirituality, dexterity, and what was I saying? Rather than perception. Perception seems to only... oh god, that guard is walking into the ground again. Perception seems to only be a factor for the thief-style armors, and dexterity seems to be a far more common requirement for items. You know, if we had chosen dexterity, then I imagine we'd be able to choose dexterity again after the Tomb of Sir Dagonet. And then meet the requirements for the Green Knight's armor set. Okay. Well, fortunately we don't seem to have all the ingredients. I'd take that back. Wait. The Spell Warden set seems to have no ability score requirements. Increases mana cost and spell power. Killing an enemy increases maximum mana by... Yeah, okay. Spells regenerate 50% of the damage dealt as mana. So, yeah, it's heavy duty caster set, right? Taking damage... I don't think we necessarily need to create these. It would get us some skill points. We want to... Oh, we want to reduce that chance for worst. Okay, let's see. Meteorite seems to be what we're missing for most of these. Okay. Hex grip. Where did I get this? Battle Mage's stuff, presumably. Okay. Well, we'll do the usual. Keep a copy and move on. Thing is, though, if Orin and Caradoc are in opposition, why does Orin point us towards him at all? Is he just saying, yeah, it's not as if he's saying, look, if you're not going to agree with me, maybe you'll agree with him. Is he then hoping we summon Arthur and he kills Arthur? If we summon Arthur, will he go mad with everything being recombined and attack us, and we'll have to try and put him down? That I can see being a popular endgame decision by the developers, because we get a big final boss fight against a giant armoured knight. He's not as large as the Four Dweller Knights, though. Speaking of which, we have not yet found a new pursuer hunting after us during the hours of darkness. And people seem to indicate that would happen in each act after we gain the souls, so who knows. For now, though, we once again find ourselves wishing to lighten our load, to unburden ourselves
hello there.
upon this unfortunate individual.
Hello again. I've got everything you didn't know you needed.
Well, I mean, someone must value these enchantments because they're not particularly useful to us. So, Crucible Wand, we could keep that. Should stash that. Okay, now to tidy up. It feels like these are not part of a set then. We are close, but not quite there yet. This especially as I diverged from the build required to optimize them. Don't need 2 more of those. And of course the handheld items are in the food section because consumables have been relabeled to look much more tasty. Throwing knife away does keep the doctor. Throwing knife a day does keep the doctor away. It's probably not the best method. Miscellaneous, but there may be a quest that actually ties into it later on. Because I seem to remember people saying, "Oh, the guy asked me to go get this, but I already had it," or something. I think though, for now, I should probably end this episode here. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and I'll look forward to seeing you all in the very next episode. I'll say goodbye for now though, and cheerio everyone. See you all soon.